Well, last week, the Federal Trade Commission banned all non-compete agreements for nearly all jobs in the U.S. So what does it mean for you and your job? Well, joining me now to unpack this is the founder of BoxFi, Jarrod Randolph. Jarrod, it's good to have you on the show here. And what does this mean for workers?
Let's look at this from the optics of small businesses, which account for about 33.3 million businesses in the U.S. This is a very negative thing. It's a negative thing because it could create competition for these small business owners that already struggle to stay open. If it's a big corporation, an Apple, an Intel, an Amazon, it has less impact. But for these small business owners who are always trying to gain as much customer and market share that they possibly can, this is going to negatively impact them.
Interesting. So if you are a worker, what are your rights in this scenario?
Well, if going in, you need to be able to look at your contract and negotiate terms with the business owner, whether it's a big corporation or it's a small business. When you do that, you know exactly what you're dealing with your non-compete. But overall, if you're a small business owner, you're putting in time, money, and effort into your business, and an employee can walk out the door and replicate your model without repercussion, that's really where the negative impact comes in, and more small businesses will fail if the FTC does not protect them in this legislation.
So talk to me more here. Obviously, this does not favor the business, as you've outlined, especially for some of these small businesses, which we know have struggled in this environment amid high interest rates. It is a bit of a blanket approach here. Do you think that there should be more nuances? What would you recommend?
There really should be more nuance. You take the large corporations with this legislation, they have done a carve out because they assume that the higher level management has actually negotiated the terms of their non-compete. For the small businesses, things should stay status quo. We work with thousands of small businesses across the U.S., helping them either reduce or eliminate credit card fees to increase profitability. The one thing I cannot help them with is gaining market share. And if it's just released that employees could walk out the door tomorrow and they could replicate that business model, it's going to have a massively negative impact on these small businesses.
Interesting. Now, in terms of what this gives employees the ability to share, how does that change?
Well, you have intellectual property as a business owner, whether you're a large corporation or you're a small business. And there needs to be very tight restrictions around sharing that intellectual property that those businesses own. So they can't take it, walk out the door, go create their own business, or share that with another company. And those are the things where they need to or could create opportunity to have more constraints around, where someone who's an employee could leave, take a new job, but they're restricted on what they could disclose based on a confidentiality agreement, for instance.
Interesting. So generally, we know that your skills can build over time, and you would take those new and improved skills to a new job. I'm curious here, if small businesses suffer, on the flip side, do you think that big businesses would massively benefit?
There are two reasons that small businesses fail. One is because of capital. The other is because of the loss of market share or the inability to gain market share. The reason that they would suffer is because even though these employees have gained knowledge over the years, if they can take their proprietary information, replicate it, as I had mentioned before, create their own business, or replicate it within another business model, and that business model could be within a large corporation, then you're going to run into problems, and it's going to drive small business owners out of business.
Interesting. So in terms of the employee, might give them more leverage, obviously, make them more marketable because they're less constrained. Do you anticipate that we'll be hearing from small business owners specifically about this new rule?
You're already getting major pushback right now from the National Chamber of Commerce, and small business owners do need to be speaking out about this, and they are. They have so much power legislatively because they control such a large share of the market. They employ almost half Americans, and they have about 50% impact on the GDP annually. So they have a voice. They're reaching out to their representatives. They are reaching out to their local chamber of commerces, and they're speaking out against it, whether it's to completely nullify what they're currently proposing, or to start to come to a compromise where employees have protections, but also the business owners have protections as well.
What, if anything, do you think could come from that outreach?
I think what could come from that outreach is a compromise. There's something that has to be done. I think really it needs to be focused on the large corporations, not on the small businesses. But that outreach is going to force the Federal Trade Commission to relook at what they are proposing and come to a level of compromise so everybody wins in this situation.
All right. Thanks to our guest there, Jarrod Randolph, founder of BoxFi. Jarrod, thank you. Always good to give the small business a voice.